The aim of this project was to review China's intention of re-establishing itself as the world's dominant country in terms of trade through the development of the One Belt One Road initiative. We began by looking into the apparition of China's former trading system, the Silk Road, and the purpose it had at an international level. Soon we realized it was due to Western Europe influence that the former Silk trade route disappeared. And now, 600 years later, the One Belt One Road initiative appears, trying to revive and modernize China's past trading system and strengthen the country's position within the international arena. However, certain reservations have been expressed towards the uprising of this initiative, with some wondering whether it is the start of a new Silk Road, or instead, a well-thought-out ploy to advance 21st century Chinese imperialism.
The Silk Road was a network of trade routes connecting China and the Far East with the Middle East and Europe. It was established when the Han Dynasty in China officially opened trade with the West in 130 before Christ. The Silk Road's trade and maritime routes, which were used to transport vast amounts of goods, extended from Rome in the west to Xi'an, the ancient capital of China, in the east. However, previous to the Silk Road, there already existed another trading route called the Royal Road, established during the Persian ruler Darius I during the Achaemenid Empire. It included smaller routes that connected Mesopotamia to the Indian subcontinent and northern Africa.
All in all, art, religion, philosophy, technology, language, science, architecture, and every other element of civilization was exchanged along these routes, carried with the commercial goods the merchants traded from country to country. The Silk Road routes also opened up means of passage for explorers seeking to better understand the culture and geography of the Far East.
Transport was what enabled merchants to move goods from one country to another. The main type of transport they used through land were camels. Camels were more adapted to harsh desert conditions and could carry more weight than other animals. However, as there were a limited number of camels, only luxury goods could be traded. Through maritime routes, they used ships as transport. This allowed them to travel faster and carry bigger quantities of goods. The types of goods that were most traded were luxury goods, and these were silk, tea, and porcelain. Moreover, the trade of porcelain contributed to the growth in maritime trade. The material was so fragile it had to be packed and shipped in containers to avoid being damaged. Therefore, the good could only be transported throughout sea. Slowly, the use of land routes stopped and instead maritime routes became very important. This was due to the incorporation of countries all along the coasts of the Indian Ocean and Western Pacific, and also because by ship, higher quantity of goods could be transported and at a faster rate. A series of factors influenced the way in which trade was made and goods were transported. These factors were mainly related to harsh meteorological conditions and security issues. The trade routes were consistently threatened by thieves who would attack the merchants and steal their goods. Therefore, they implemented checkpoints with the aim of making the trade routes much more safe and optimal. However, due to the continuous attacks on the routes, the invasion of the Mongols, which conquered part of the Silk Road, and the reconfiguration of China's government at the time, the system slowly started to disintegrate. The fall of the Silk Road forced merchants to take to the sea to ply their trade, and this gave way to the start of the Age of Discovery. It led to worldwide interaction and the makings of a global community. Therefore, it is said, the Silk Road established the groundwork for the development of the modern world.
The Silk Road, from its opening to its closure, had so great an impact on the development of world civilization that it is difficult to imagine the modern world without it. The impact the Silk Road had was never forgotten, and today we see the configuration of a newer version under the name of the One Belt One Road Initiative. The One Belt One Road Initiative is an ambitious project created with the aim of rerouting global trade and improving connectivity and cooperation among multiple countries. The project was proposed by the Chinese President Xi Jinping in 2013 and today it is present in 78 different countries all throughout Asia, Africa, and Europe, and it touches over 60% of the world's population.
The series of objectives that they want to achieve with the implementation of this project are to increase trade and investment, to implement free trade zones, to enhance financial cooperation in the region in order to fund infrastructure, to gain access to natural resources, to strengthen transport infrastructure, and to deepen cultural exchanges in the region.
We will improve bilateral and multilateral cooperation mechanisms of the Belt and Road Initiative, focusing on policy communication, infrastructure connectivity, trade facilitation, capital flow, and people-to-people exchanges.
Referred to as the project of the century, the Chinese authorities see the initiative as an opportunity to increase China's development through the building of a new infrastructure and investigating in transportation and energy. China, so far, has invested more than $6 trillion in the project and is slowly taking a regional leadership role among its neighboring countries. The Chinese President Xi Jinping defined the One Belt One Road initiative as China will actively promote international cooperation through the Belt and Road Initiative. In doing so, we hope to achieve policy, infrastructure, trade, financial, and people-to-people connectivity and thus build a new platform for international cooperation to create new drivers of shared development.
The Silk Road and the One Belt, One Road initiative share a series of similarities and differences. The similarities they share are based on their functionality. Both systems have become very economically and politically important. Moreover, they share the same purpose. They were both created in order to improve connectivity between regions and boost trade. China has been at the center of both routes and has played an important role in their development. On the other hand, there also are a series of differences that make both routes very distinctive. First of all, the kinds of products that were commercialized during the era of the Silk Road were very different to today. Silk, tea, and porcelain were the main luxury goods that were traded and highly demanded. Moreover, the amount of goods that could be transported by land and sea were further limited than today. The One Belt, One Road initiative has expressly invested in the development of infrastructure to contribute and allow the shipping of larger quantities of products. Furthermore, the means of transport during the Silk Road were slower and overall different to the ones today. Finally, taking into account the time in which both systems emerged, it is clear that the situations in which both systems surfaced has led to them developing different purposes and outcome. The Silk Road led to the exchange of not only goods but also culture, religion, and art, among others, while the One Belt, One Road initiative has emerged in a globalized world in which the East and the West are well acquainted, and therefore its development and purpose is very much related to political reasons and chase of power. One Belt, One Road initiative is referred to by many as the New Silk Road, but in reality, it hardly shares its main ideals. When comparing both trading systems, we come to realize that perhaps they were founded for the same reason, trade, but apart from that, they are different. The purpose of Belt and Road Initiative is to be used as a means to expand China's geopolitical influence in the world, while the Silk Road was a mere trading system.
Finally, there are other countries, specifically the US and India, that are a little wary about this new initiative and believe it was developed for other motives.
The US, on the one hand, believes that the initiative deems a threat to the global community. It perceives that China is pushing for this initiative in order to increase its economic and political control over the region and expand its influence. In November of 2019, President Donald Trump's administration announced it will invest and trade more in Asia to counter China's economic power in the region. Moreover, the Trump administration has launched the Blue Dot Network, a US-led public-private initiative to increase financially sustainable infrastructure development in Asia. United States senior officials, as a form of criticism towards debt-trap diplomacy, which is what they believe China is doing, claimed, "We don't draw our partners in sea of debt. We don't coerce or compromise your independence. The United States deals openly, fairly. We don't offer a constricting one belt, one road." India also doubts China's real intentions behind the development of this new project and does not support it. India is the only major country in the world that has opposed the One Belt One Road project on the grounds of territorial sovereignty, given that its flagship project, the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, passes through Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, which India has always maintained is its territory. The general Indian view about the nature of the Belt Road Initiative right from the beginning, represented in both the academic and strategic community as well as the government, was that the Belt Road Initiative was less about economic development and more about larger political and strategic goals.
In short, both the Silk Road and the One Belt, One Road initiative serve as a trading system that fulfill a commercial need for China. Nevertheless, they are different in many aspects. First and foremost, the Silk Road was based on the idea of a linear system, while the One Belt, One Road system focuses on a much more multi-ordinate system which exists thanks to China's modern international status. It is due to this international power that the One Belt, One Road initiative is also different from the former Silk Road system. On the other hand, the Silk Road was far much simpler than that. Many portrayed the Silk Road as this important milestone in human history, but in reality it was a simple trading process that was established between the West and China in order to gain economic relations.